We're going to, this is the time for the public to make comments on generic subjects, not specific to any of the items on our agenda. Please remember that we do have speaker slips available for you to fill out, and that there is a 3-minute limit. We are going to use the community meeting room on the other side of our city council chambers, and that's where the speakers will address the council and speak their mind. I do want to call up Rosario Kirk real fast to confirm that she wants to yield her 3 minutes to Francis Kirk. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, I heard yes. So Mr. Kirk, or Francis Kirk, you will have a total of 6 minutes to make your presentation. All right, first out of the gate will be Abigail Gonzalez. What I do as a courtesy, I ask all of the speakers to state their name and address. And as a courtesy, when you begin speaking, that's when I will start the timer.
Hi. You want my address?
As a courtesy, yes. It's not imperative, but that's just a courtesy.
I just came here to say I'm still upset about what happened on June 1st. I'm upset, very upset at the way that you guys reacted on August 1st, but I'm still very upset about what happened June 1st. This is 2 times now. We were able to come here before both of those, before August 1st and have a beautiful caravan. It was peaceful. So I don't know why you guys reacted the way you did. I live here. I picture that the whole community is listening to this right now. Like I said last time, my brother's banner is here in this city. What happened to my brother was unfair. We're seeing it with Vanessa Guillen. We're seeing it with Enrique Roman Martinez. I, that live here, that my brother went to school here, want and deserve to be able to be allowed to have a beautiful protest. I want my mom, who right now is in a wheelchair, to be able to come out here safely. That's what I want. I don't know how long it's going to take for you guys to say something or do something, but that was not okay.
Okay, the next speaker will be Francis Kirk. Mr. Kirk, you have 6 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Francis Kirk. I live on Avenue D. I'm here to speak on behalf of the protesters on August 1st. This city has once again showed us that color matters. Before the protest ever took place, we received threats of violence to our group. We were here for a peaceful protest. We were here because of what happened on June 1st. Peaceful protesters got attacked by a mob just so they could be silenced. We got involved, and we were part of this protest because we too have felt the racism in this town. The members of Yucaipa Strong have attacked my wife and I repeatedly. They called and asked my wife if she had her green card. She's a U.S. citizen. That's the reason why we're here, or why we were there. This needs to stop. When we showed up, you could tell that it was going to be everything but peaceful. Very quickly into our movement, we realized that we were being closed in on both sides of the street, from our west and to our east. Then we hear BLM clear the streets.
Attention BLM protesters, this is your dispersal order.
As we were trying to comply, we could see all the other counter-protesters shouting racist comments to us, telling us to leave the country. I was the one holding the big Mexican flag, and I heard it more than a few times, people telling me to go back to my country and that they should beat me for holding that flag. My wife is Mexican-American, so I hold that flag for her. This wasn't all they tried to do in order to silence us. We had some try to run us over with their cars while we were trying to get our cars off the road. They even threw up Nazi salutes at times on their side. In the moment, I asked an officer if we could get our group back into the Stater Brothers parking lot on Yucaipa Boulevard, and he said that no, that was a private property. I guess that didn't apply to the 200 counter-protesters standing in the parking lot. We kept hearing for us to disperse as the other group became more and more aggressive.
Attention BLM protesters. This is your dispersal order.
The officers stood in line facing our smaller group as if they were protecting the more aggressive mob. This was all planned because fear drove that action. It was Yucaipa Strong members that said we were coming to riot. It was them that said we were terrorists. But it was also them that were the aggressors that day. Most of them were carrying knives longer than my arm. Yet we were the ones the city needed to save, that the city needed saving from.
They're for the USA too. I don't understand. Just because they have a flag from Mexico doesn't mean they're not for the USA.
No, we were not the problem that day. Nor were we the problem on June 1st. The problem here is most of you don't want people of color to have a voice. You did infringe on our First Amendment right, and until it's the same for everyone, we'll keep coming back. We do have a voice, and we'll make sure you hear it.
Thank you. Okay, we have the last speaker is going to be Brenda Abraham.
I think it's Brenda Abraham, Yucaipa. Freedom of speech, including criticism of government, is protected by the First Amendment to the Constitution and strengthened by the Brown Act, which establishes the public's right to attend and participate in meetings of local legislative bodies. 3 rules in the Brown Act are particularly relevant considering City Council's recent changes to meeting and public comments formats. Number 1, meetings must be accessible to all members of the public. For months, Mr. Duncan attended meetings defiantly wearing his mask like a chin strap. You did nothing about his social media posts calling the pandemic a hoax, as Yucaipans got sick and died. Now City Council is suddenly limiting access to meetings in the name of protecting public health. This change reeks of hypocrisy and retribution for the ongoing and well-deserved public criticism of Mr. Duncan and of any council members who continually turn a blind eye to his toxic behavior. Conditions of admission, number 2, conditions of admission to meetings such as registration of one's name is expressly forbidden. Council's attempts to stifle anonymous public comments are a violation of both the First Amendment and the Brown Act. Since you've all been made aware during previous public comments that myself and others are being targeted for harassment by members of the Yucaipa Strong and Yucaipa militia groups, the decision to publish email addresses from online comments is either staggeringly irresponsible or a deliberate attempt to intimidate your critics. If this policy continues, Council is complicit in any harassment or injury resulting from the publishing of this information. Number 3, criticism of policies, procedures, programs, services of the agency, or acts or omissions of the legislative body may not be prohibited. Irony is dead when the effort to stifle criticism of elected officials is being led by the councilman whose group is called Sons of the Founding Fathers. If the Founding Fathers hadn't expressed their displeasure for government through petition, protest, and even violence, the U.S. would likely not exist. Founding Fathers Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay published the Federalist Papers under the pseudonym Publius. It's because of their anonymous efforts that our Constitution was ratified and became the law of the land. Even after achieving independence, our Founding Fathers were relentless critics of their own government. Mr. Duncan engages in behavior unbecoming an elected official, and rather than hold him accountable, his fellow council members appear to be helping him silence his critics. This is shameful and cowardly behavior and would have the Founding Fathers absolutely rolling in their graves. Mr. Duncan should resign. On another note, I would like to publicly and personally thank the firefighters and other personnel working on the Apple Fire for their hard work and expertise. You are appreciated.
Thank you. Okay, I have no other speakers and public comment. And Mrs. Crawford, you have none at hand, I take it?
We have 3 public comments submitted, but at this time, staff was not prepared to, or we were not planning on reading them into record unless you direct me to do so.
I do
otherwise.
not. I think we will refrain from reading them from record so as to protect the writer. Is that appropriate, counsel?
That's a fine policy choice.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving to next is consent agenda. We have 10 items on the consent agenda. Does anybody want to pull any items for discussion?